Hi, this is Jennifer Irwin with jenniferlifecoaching.com, and I am here to share a meditation for December. So I have been picking a theme for each month. Last month was gratitude, aligns with November pretty well. And then this month I chose joy. And I chose joy partly because I think we all need more joy in our lives right now, because joy is something that sustains us during challenging times, which is what we are in at the moment. And also because it dovetails with gratitude. So, really, gratitude and joy are very intertwined. And I've been thinking a lot about it too, because I have been rereading Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. And she talks about both joy and gratitude together and really describes the challenges with joy and what happens when we numb our emotions. When we numb ourselves to vulnerability, we really numb ourselves to joy as well, and how that can be a problem. So I wanted to read a quick bit from her book and then to dive into our meditation today, which is all about expanding our capacity for joy. All right. So this is really about why joy is sometimes challenging for us, because it touches on vulnerability. It's an intense emotion in our culture. We don't have a lot of experience. We don't have a lot of tools of how to hold and embrace intense emotions. And so when we lose that capacity, though, to be able to embrace and hold these difficult emotions, we often lose the resources that we need to get through darker or more challenging times. So she writes, "Joy is as thorny and sharp as any of the dark emotions. To love someone fiercely, to believe in something with your whole heart, to celebrate a fleeting moment in time, to fully engage in a life that doesn't come with guarantees. These are risks that involve vulnerability and often pain. When we lose our tolerance for discomfort, we lose joy." Yeah, I love that idea of it being a thorny emotion, because I know I felt that. We talk about the piercing nature of joy, and it has that intensity to it. And oftentimes when we are unsure of how to hold that, we avoid it, because there is that edge of pain and vulnerability there that can be painful. So I want to offer this meditation as a practice of how to kind of lean in to joy, because the gift of joy is that it helps connect us to what is most important in our lives. That's why gratitude and joy really go together, because what we're grateful for also are some of the things that really bring us joy, or they're the areas that point us in the direction of joy. So I want us to kind of call up some things that we feel grateful for, or moments that we feel around, we already feel joy in as we start this meditation. So let's get centered, and we're going to take a couple deep breaths together and get really grounded, and then I'll guide us into the meditation. All right. So closing your eyes, getting into a comfortable position, taking a deep breath in, really seeing if you can arrive here in this spot, this place and time, and exhale, letting go of whatever happened before you sat down to do this meditation. Breathing in, really ground. Exhaling, letting go. Breathing in, really arriving at this space, seeing if you can feel your body. And exhaling, seeing if you can let the past moment go. All right. I want you to recall a moment of joy. To see if you can bring to mind, when was the last time you felt joy, or what was a really memorable moment of joy for you? Just sit quietly for a moment and see if you can bring a memory to mind. And if you're struggling, please don't beat yourself up about that. Just notice that. Take a breath and start with gratitude. What is something that you are truly grateful for? And see if you can attach that to a moment of joy. And if not, just keep breathing. Mindfulness, meditation practice is all about noticing with kindness what is your experience right now. So remember, if you are unable to find a moment of joy or are struggling in this moment, all you need to do is breathe. Notice that you're struggling, offering yourself some kindness that you're struggling, and come back to the present moment. All right, once you've got a memory in mind, use your breath to kind of breathe that memory into you. See if you can locate and really deepen and experience, what does joy feel like in your body? What does joy feel like in your body to you? So breathing in this memory, and then seeing if you can really connect to how joy lives inside of you. And there are no wrong answers. Again, it's just about noticing. I know for me, there's like an expansion in my chest and almost like a tightness right here, like right below my chest. Sometimes there's a tingling in my body, but mostly I experience this kind of heart opening and then just kind of like this tender raw spot. So just really ask yourself, what does joy feel like? How does joy live inside of me? And just notice and breathe that in. Seeing if you can really sit with the experience of joy. And now I want you to notice if there are any sharp edges. Remember, joy is an intense emotion, and it's right, what makes joy joy is the counterbalance. It's living in the contrast. So what's joyful sometimes is that it's fleeting, that it doesn't last forever, that it is one moment in time. So just notice if there are any raw or sharp or vulnerable edges in your experience with joy. And see if you can just breathe into those places. Not to get rid of them, but just to expand your inner space to hold that part of joy as well. Really noticing those sharp edges. Breathing into them. Often what I do is on my inhale, I ground. Remember that I'm rooted to the earth. that I'm centered in this moment. And on that exhale, expand out. This really helps me expand my sense of self so that I can hold the joy and tenderness, the joy and vulnerability, just expanding out, remembering that I am wide and centered and capable of holding all sorts of human experiences. That I have that capacity to hold it with a lot of care. So breathing in, really ground, and exhaling, really expanding out, seeing if you can allow the full experience of joy. And let yourself be touched. If tears come, turn towards them. If tightness comes, breathe and turn towards that. Really allowing whatever arises around experiencing joy to be there. Really feel the fullness of this emotion, the tenderness, the beauty, the ache, the rawness, the exquisiteness. Really feel into it. Now, take a deep breath and see if you can expand your experience of yourself even more to hold even more joy. So breathing in, really grounding yourself, and breathing out and seeing if you can stretch your attention to the edges of your body, to the edges of your mind, really thinking, almost like seeing if you can imagine or do it like I am, just spreading out your body and your arms to see if you can welcome in to hold more joy. Breathing. Seeing if you can imagine calling forth more joyful moments. Simple, exquisite, tender. And bringing your hands back together if they were out. Taking last 3 final really deep breaths to return back as we close the meditation. So breathing in, remembering that we have the capacity to hold this emotion of joy, and exhaling, really relaxing. Inhaling, breathing in all those joyful moments that we're welcoming in. And exhaling, remembering that we are spacious. Breathing in and breathing out. Thank you for joining me in increasing our capacity for joy. This is a great time to do that, and I encourage you throughout the month to really reflect on and return to this practice of expanding and noticing and welcoming in these moments of joy. And I have a couple tips of how to kind of look for joy, to find it in your life. And one of them is to just start to notice. If you have a gratitude practice already, see how, kind of explore how gratitude and joy are mixed. And if you don't have a gratitude practice yet, I really encourage you to start one. It can be really simple as, upon waking, noting 3 things that you're grateful for and really just soaking them in, just pausing for a moment and being thankful. And in that same turn, if you notice that you're thankful for your warm blankets or your soft pillow or the person sleeping next to you, really just take a moment and sink in to the moment of gratitude and joy that moment brings you. And second is to really tune into your senses, because our senses are often where we can access joy. So I know for me, I experience a lot of joy with, a hot cup of tea, especially in the morning, and or a warm blanket, or the smell of, something cooking, delicious cooking in the oven. This is a great time to delve into your senses, because there's a lot during this particular season to really embrace, even if it's just the cool wind on your cheeks or the crackling of a fire or whatever it is that kind of helps bring you back to your senses, and you can notice, the contrast in the sky and the trees or whatever it is that really can bring you alive, and notice that spark of aliveness and joy inside of you. I encourage you to do that. I look forward to seeing you again and meditating with you again next month in January. Until then, I am sending you so much peace and care and, of course, joy. All right, bye.